I do have some military connections in my background. I think, I feel like the majority of Americans probably do, you know, at least with the last generation, if not like this generation. For us, my great grandpa actually fought in World War I, and you know, did the whole European tour and everything, and came home, was really active in his veteran community at that point in Iowa. And then my grandpa fought in World War II, and he was actually a veteran of D-Day. He was on Utah Beach. He was in an amphibious personnel carrier, and then he took wounded back to London and actually did a tour in Japan after that, but after the war was over. But he was always really proud of his service. He was a Navy veteran. And for these days, I actually have a cousin whose husband is active in the Marine Corps. He's I think I want to say staff sergeant. Sorry, Abe, if I got that wrong. And then also is really active in like sort of the veterans connection to the financial community now. He's a liaison. So I do have connections to the military in a way that feels like substantial and real. The way the Mint assigns coins is they have, you know, in something like this commemorative series, they will assign artists different pieces. And then sometimes those pieces have like a vague kind of prompt attached to them. So I was actually assigned the Clad, which they wanted to connect to a modern audience. And in the way that the Mint kind of was talking about it, it was more like, how do we connect, you know, veterans' grandchildren to their grandpa's service or something like that. But I actually didn't know that much about the Purple Heart at the time. So I was actually really surprised to learn that it's awarded, I had for some reason been under the impression it was awarded only to wounded veterans. And I didn't know it was actually awarded to veterans that are KIA. And that was really kind of powerful for me because I wanted to communicate that. As far as my process goes, I tend to think about things for quite a while before I actually start drawing anything. I sort of like think about what the purpose of the coin is, like what are they trying to achieve? What's the end result? And for this one, the end result was to tell a story that was really hard and heavy. You know, it's a story that's about sacrifice and about loss ultimately, and about what that kind of sacrifice deserves as a response from the rest of us. And I knew that there was a way to represent that visually, to focus on the thing that's not there. So to do that on the coin, that's how it manifested in like me thinking about, you know, what does it mean to give some? Like literally give some. It means there's something that's not there. And to focus on what's not there and also honor the person who gave. So that ended up with the front side. And, you know, so extrapolating from that to think about what it means to give all. It means to give all. It means to not be there, to leave a hole in the lives of people that you love. And so that was, you know, that followed from the front side pretty easily. Designing this coin was a really emotional journey. It was an emotional lift for me. And my heart really goes out to the veterans that receive these awards. And I hope that my coin can tell their story in a way that gives them the respect that they really deserve. I knew I wanted to include the mantra, of course, but in a way that really gave it a modern representation. And unfortunately, that means these days that you have people that come back from, you know, say tours in Afghanistan who are really visually impacted by their service, you know, in the form of like some sort of really obvious disability or not obvious disability, and people that don't come back. But even for the people that don't come back, they leave a hole, you know, in the lives of the people around them. Like you lose a friend or a father or a brother, you know, that's really impactful to the people that are left. So I wanted to make sure that I represented that hole, that loss, that sacrifice, you know, and in the way that I did that, I used, you know, negative space with the coin to represent what literally was missing, you know. So the front side, there's a wounded veteran missing, you know, the bottom half of a leg with a crutch. And the back side, there's a full man missing, the silhouette of what I thought of as a father missing from a young boy's life. The Marines were a big part in the more recent wars that we fought. You know, they had a really heavy presence in Afghanistan and in the Middle East across the board. And so that's just kind of what I was seeing in like modern representations, you know. I hope that they think about not just the award, that they don't just visualize, you know, the purple medal. They don't just think about George Washington's face. They think about the impact that it has on the lives of people, and they have a real human connection and a human reaction. You know, it's an emotional loss and it's an emotional story. And I want to really try to activate that in people that see the coin so that they think, I want them to think about the impact it has today. It's one thing to like find a Purple Heart medal, you know, in your attic and not know where it came from or not know what relative it came from. I think a lot of people these days do that and not think about the history behind it. And that's why your mission is so important, to connect people to that story and to tell the story, preserve the stories. But these days, I think what's missing is a connection to people, you know, and especially in a modern era, like we're so detached from everything, you know, like we have digital interfaces between us and the rest of the world, and nobody really like connects on a human level maybe the way we used to. And so the coin having like human representations of that, I think helps me feel like I'm trying to make a difference in that situation, like trying to tell human stories and connect us all and build empathy, you know, in the world. Well, I think the coin series turned out, like as a whole collection, it tells the story really well. You guys have like a really nice sort of overarching narrative. It tells about the beginning of the, you know, the origins of the medal, George Washington. It tells about, you know, recognizes people that were there to help, you know, the nurse and everything. And then it recognizes the ultimate sacrifice, which is like, you know, my coin in the end of the series. And it makes a really nice, like complete collection. And I think you guys, I mean, we're really proud of it. We're really happy with how it turned out. And I hope it's a real success for you guys. And I hope the public, you know, responds